All right, so I'll start off here. So, welcome to the guided project for the Python development AI generative code course here. So, in this project, we're going to be doing a full stack app flow. We're going to be developing that and deploying it. So, a little bit about myself. Been in IT for 15 plus years. Top 1% in WeChow, which is IT, cybersecurity, and other kind of challenges. Taught at over 40 universities in over 4 countries, and I am a founder of my own application development agency, Kaizen Apps. So, with that being said, the project that we're going to be working on here is we're going to be building a full stack web app with a working front and back end service code utilizing ChatGPT to generate Python. And we're going to be able to connect it to a third party API. We're going to be using News API, and we're going to deploy it from our system to be usable on the cloud by anyone. This will be for media companies trying to aggregate news together from multiple different sources online and reduce the amount of information overload people find. So, the objectives for what we're going to be doing is we're going to use that news API. We're going to use that to pull specific topics, and then we're going to connect it to a UI. We'll be using Flask for that, and we're going to be able to put all this code together in very simple prompts using ChatGPT and then deploy it as well. So, some context for it. We're going to be full stack AI application developer, or using an, I guess a better term is AI assisted full stack application developers, to be able to create applications to help with the media industry. We're going to be helping this hypothetical company, Info Stream Media, to be able to curate different topics. So we're going to put all this together one step at a time. So, step one, we're going to use ChatGPT to create that application framework. We're going to set up a local Python environment if you haven't already. I've got VS Code, and I have the, let's call it new file here. We're going to call it news service.py, and I've already got Python 3.10 installed using Conda. Now, we're going to use ChatGPT to draft out the full stack Python HTML Flask framework for the news aggregator application. So we're going to have the the backend services, which is that file I just created, and then we're going to have the front end as well. That will be the index.html. And then we also will need to have API integration filler until we actually connect that. So let's start that process here. So we're gonna, yeah, we got Python. I'm using 3.10. You can use the latest version. I got VS Code running, and then the API integrations and front to back routing, all that good stuff. We're going to get done here. So what we'll need to have done is I've got ChatGPT open, but before we do that, we're going to go to News API, and we're going to Google that. News API, we can click newsapi.org as our link. It's going to open up the News API website where we'll need to create an account. So once we're able to do that, then we'll be able to interact with the news through their third-party API. And so, as it's loading here, going to gotta see why it's taking a bit. We're going to since I've already created an account, I'm just gonna sign in. So the sign in button is seems like it's also loading. Let me see if I can speed up this process. All right, I'm going to do a quick refresh. Sometimes it's just having issues. There we go. All right, so I'm already signed in. I'm going to click Get API Key. I've got my API key. I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to put it in my uh, I'm going to put that here. And what I'm also going to do is, let's say I want to choose an example for what we're going to do. We're going to kind of reverse engineer this, but this is to prep that initial prompt to build the general framework. Everything else gets easy from there. So what do I want? I want to talk about, I'm not going to, let's see, top business headlines, top headlines from TechCrunch. We're going to use this example. We're going to talk about a specific topic from the last month, sorted by recent first. So I'm going to copy this request format, and I'm going to put in here. I'm using this uh, as a basic prompt thing, which I'm going to throw up here soon. All right, so we've got basically everything we need. So now we're going to do the basic framework prompting as per step one here. So we're going to ask for the framework, create a full stack framework for a news aggregator app, Python, with both uh, backend services and front end UI via Flask and Tailwind. Third party APIs and usage reference here. All right, and I'm going to go back to this. This is pretty much the initial prompt. So we've got ChatGPT kind of just doing its thing. I might need to refresh it actually, because I enabled a VPN there. Kind of speed things up. So let's do create a full stack Python app for a news aggregator that connects with this third party API. Front end is HTML plus. We're going to use Tailwind just to manage the CSS across projects. CSS, Flask, and back end. The front end is, and we're going to use Google fonts for a modern look as well. This will be the general aspect of it. Return both front end and back end code. All right, so that's going to be the initial first. Oh, whoops. You know what? I also need to tell it this. Okay. Whoops. All right. So now I've given it the third party API key and a request example. And now it's just failing. So let's do a refresh again. And the internet went down. That's not good. Oh, it's back. Okay. Come on, ChatGPT. What's wrong with you today? It's being extremely slow. Come on, you can do it. What is with it right now? It's as if it's just not connecting. I'm going to try a different point here. Maybe this will fix it. Let's see what's going on. Very strange. All right, let's put the initial prompt in again. Okay, great. So here we go. So it's going to talk about Flask. All right, so this is going to be the app itself. And then we've got the, of course, the index.html. So actually, yeah, this will be the app. Uh-huh. So there's the request in there, and then this is the front end. So we're going to grab this code, and we're going to put it in here. And then we're also going to create the index.html news.html. That's what it's saying to do in a templates folder. So we're going to do exactly that. Create folder, templates, and then inside templates is going to be index.html and a new file, news.html. All right, so for index, this will be that code, and for news.html, we're going to see what happens here as the news results. All right, so let's see how this base process works. So we've got the three things here, so let's just run it. Run without debugging, that's fine. So I'm going to run, see if it works, and then we're going to see what happens here. All right, so it's open on this URL right here. Here's localhost port 5000. And this is the very, very beginning of it. This is the general framework of it. We've got a basic button. We've got a search bar. Let's search up AI. What happens if we hit search? It brings us to news results. Okay, so it's a really basic thing. It looks like it's multilingual and everything. Fantastic. Okay, so that's our basic framework. So that's task one, general framework. All right. Also, working with, well, skipping ahead a little bit, task two is actually to integrate that news API. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go more in depth because it's already created the backend service code in that framework with the news aggregator example. And we did do our first test to make sure that it did work with pulling things. So what we're going to do is we're going to provide not only a subject, but we're also going to have it respond in English because we want it to just respond in English. So we want it to, let's say, language. Fantastic. So we're going to be using Python or documentation. And all right. So let's see. You go get API key. No, I've already been here. Let's figure out for the language. Let's see. Oh wait, so yeah, let's say that we want it from the US. I like that. We're gonna add in that. We're gonna add in right here, query and country from the US. Right, that's good. And the API key is last. And we also want the language to be English. So let's see, language equals en. Fantastic. So that should fix those two things that were an issue before. And so let's see if we run it now. Let's see if it should. Let's go back. Let's go artificial intelligence. Let's see if it does it in English and it's from the US. Great. Nothing. Okay. What happens if I type in AI? It got some results before. We'll know if it's in only English. All right, so nothing this time. All right, so that's great. Let's just do language as English and see if that works. I'm going to search AI again. All right. All right, this is working. Everything is at least in English. Okay, so that's working. Fantastic. So that is essentially task number 2. Um, Check it. No, we got something in English. We don't want to debug the thing just yet for US, but that's pretty much it for integrating it. Now, right now, the UI that we've got, I mean, we got our base framework. It's not pretty. So the list of things that we want to fix. We'll have ChatGPT over here as our thing. And what we're gonna do is we're going to actually throw our UI into HTML render, real-time render. So we're gonna actually just render some HTML and try to change it up, make it look nicer, right? So this is the code. This is what it's gonna look like on the right. So what do we want to do? Well, first we want to say we want to do what? We want to add a title, right? So for the front end code, add. So we want to add title of news aggregator app. We want to center the search bar to make it similar to Google. What else are we looking at here? We want center the search bar. When we want the results should appear on the same page. I think that would be great. And let's see, uh, we can we can start with that for the front end. Index.html code, add title, and like a little news icon as a logo. For as a basic logo. All right, so let's see what it comes up with. So that we don't need the news doc, we don't need the news page because that is an unnecessary page. It works great, but we don't really need it right now. So we've got the code being created. We've got it looks like there's a title now. It's still using Tailwind. It has some custom CSS, but only a couple things here. And then it's got the icon. It looks like it pulled an icon. So it looks like it's doing the script as well. Some basic stuff here. Fantastic. So we're going to check this out. This is what it looked like before. This is what it looks like now. It seems... Oh, we've got the icon. Great. Now, the search engine, this is what it was before. Now, we like this. So we like the search engine on the right side of search news. So I like that. Keep search engine on the right side of the search bar. Add newspaper logo. Newspaper logo. Actually, next to the word search, make the page title a centered header 1 above the search bar, similar to Google. All right, so here we go. We do, I guess this is the title, but we want to see some text here on the top of the news. So we're going to see what happens when we use the new code here. So we've got a header 1. It seems that that's there. And then we'll see how it is going to add that button. And then, of course, we got the results, which we still need to test. But we'll do that in a moment here. So that is finishing up. All right, I'm going to copy the code, test it. All right, it's uh, it's not better, but it's getting there. So problem with it. Okay, news Twitter title not not centered above the search bar, and then let's see what happens if we just put a bunch of it. We want also make the search bar sticky, so when more text typed in it, then it gets longer. What else? Remove the news icon for now. Remove. Add a in the search box. Okay, so this should be clean enough UI, and of course we still have to test it, but this is going to be a decent start. So again, this is our third iteration, and this kind of moves into the next aspect here. So we, of course, are creating the UI. We've got the index.html, which we're changing right here. And we're just debugging with that real-time interpreter right here, because the next thing is really, oh, whoops, we're really just troubleshooting and debugging that code here right now. So we're just debugging one little thing at a time. After this, then we'll be doing the project. So this is the new code. So let's see what that looks like. Oh, this looks way better. Okay, fantastic. And it gets bigger. I like it. It's really nice. So this is acceptable enough now for it to really run. So of course I'm gonna go back to that web app, see how it is running. We're gonna refresh, and it should be the new one. All right, we're gonna type in AI, and we'll see what it comes up with. Hit the search button, and everything is appearing on the page. Fantastic. All right, so that's working as intended. Um, and so we're kind of going back and forth. We're making this work, and it seems that it is working fine to an extent. Great. So the last step here is we're going to actually deploy the app using ngrok. And we're going to use ChatGPT to really do that process. ngrok is a tunneling software that helps with deploying software on um, to the cloud so people can use it. So I'm going to go here into and let's see if we can just do it that way. Okay. All right. So we have this software here. This is the news pie. So we're going to ask ChatGPT. Okay, great. Now this is my current news service.py, which is basically app.py. Add the ability to deploy the code on run with ngrok into it. Okay, and I'm going to copy these 20 lines of code, throw it in a chat, and we're gonna use ngrok, and we're gonna say use ngrok to deploy this stuff. So let's see what is going on. Here we go. All right, so it's got the code now, and it is going to give us some extra code here. So it says we're going to import the Flask and Grok libraries, and then everything else is pretty much going to be the same here. So going to see if this works. We're going to paste this in here, and then we're going to run to see if this works. So let's run it. Okay. So if it works, we should get it to work locally. Oh, All right. So it says Flask and Grok. So we're going to need to install that. We're going to do, okay. What else? Okay. So pip install Flask and Grok. So that should fix that issue if it asks for a package. All right, now we'll run it again and we'll see if it's working. So it's running the program, and here we go. We have local. If it's the same, okay, so this is working. But now let's see if we have the, let's see if we have, what's it called? The ngrok URL. Otherwise, where is it? Should say, oh, connections. Okay, fantastic. All right, so what's going on? Target machine. Okay, we have to, ah, we have to make an account and install the token. Right. Okay, so let's do that. So we're going to go to ngrok and we're going to account. We're going to Google ngrok account. We're going to go in and we're going to sign up. We're going to get a key and then we're going to install it. So I'm going to log in. I've already made an account. Their catchphrase is online in one line. I like that. All right, so we've already got this here. We just need an auth token, and we're going to run this command like so. Saved. Great. Now we're going to run the program again. Okay, no connection is made, blah, blah, blah. All right. So if it doesn't like that, there's another way we can run it. Is I've installed ngrok and want to deploy it. We can do it this way as well. 86 run code. What's wrong? No connection can be made. Run without debugging. Let's see what's going on. Okay. Oh. Usage of ngrok requires a verified account and auth token. Okay. I did do that actually. I see. I remember. I know why. We need to install it into this, let's see, into this environment. So let's see. Here we go. We've got this Python. So how are we going to install it? Let's try switching environments to the global, where it's actually connecting, and I'm going to run here. I might have issues with Flask. Pip install Flask, because it says there's an error with that. All right, now we're going to run. No module name Flask. What's going on? Excuse me. What is going on? Okay. Alright, so it is working on local. It's not working with ngrok. So